Hello, Todd Clemens, Okeechobee Livestock Market, and here's your weekly market report. Man, what a week. Where do we start? How do you even know what to talk about? Because one minute things are one way and the next minute things are the other way. Does it affect just the current prices of cattle that go through the ring on Monday and Tuesday? Evidently it does. So the tariff wars, now they're saying, this stuff changes, just in a moment's time. So we don't know. We're going to report to you what we know right now today, and that is the market was lower here Monday and Tuesday by a little bit. So the Dow Jones was off, 10 or 12%. Monday, 3,000 points. Tuesday off, maybe 3,000 points. The futures were down. Turn around there Wednesday, and Trump administration puts a pause on the tariff deal there for 90 days. The stock market's bounced back 3,000 points. You get up today, it's up 3,000 points. It's maybe going down a little bit. People selling off. So all this stuff it's a moving target. And when you're selling cattle and these calves that are born in October or 6 months ago, and you're ready to sell them, you're just kind of at the mercy of the market, so to speak. And you can maybe play the market a little bit, call in and say, hey, how's prices? Were they any better? Were they worse? Or should I hold them or sell them? Or you can make a few decisions, but it's like an orange on a tree. When they're ready to pick, you got to pick them. If you don't, they're going to fall off, and then you don't get anything for them. So when you're ready to sell your cattle, try to get the information you need to know what you're going to get when you bring them in. Have a little bit of idea what the market's doing. You can call us for that. We'll be glad to help you. Listen to our market reports. Subscribe to our newsletter. We try to keep you informed about what's going on. You can go to Market News Service. You can go to USDA. You can find information anywhere you want to look, but just do your part to know what's going on. So yeah, if you sold cattle here Monday, let's just take a 500-pound feeder calf, number one steer calf, 500 pounds, probably was worth about $200 less this week than he was last week. Well, that's a lot of money. But those calves last week were up there around $1,800, which was extremely high. It's to the point where how is this going to work? How are these guys buying these calves for $1,800 in South Florida? They've got to precondition them. They got to give them shots. They got to run them through a chute. They got to put them on a truck. They got to haul them to the feeding area of the country, which is 12 to 1,400 miles away from here. And that's another $150 or maybe another $200. So before you know it, they've got $2,000 in a calf that's going to have to put on another 700 or 800 pounds. And then you go just look at what the cattle are bringing, the fat cattle are bringing out of the feedlots. What are the packers giving for them? Just a couple of weeks ago, they were giving over $2.10 a pound. So just figure 1,200 pound steer at over $2, $2,500. And these guys have got $2,000 in a calf that's 500 and something pounds, and he's got to gain 700 pounds. I say I could probably do that in my head pretty quick, but you get the gist of that. Okay, there's not a lot of margin right there. So the market was extremely high last week. The stock market was extremely high. The futures boards were extremely high. Everything that goes up so fast like that, people are going to take advantage of that high price and sell. They're going to sell at a high price. They're going to cash in. They're going to try to make something off of that stock market, off the futures board, and then when you got a lot of sellers selling, then that drives that market down. It is a correction. People are taking a profit. You cannot blame them for that. That's the normal thing to do, smart thing to do. And so the market goes down, and then guess what? You get another buying opportunity. or the market just kind of levels off and just kind of sticks in a sideways pattern. Well, with everything going on, Russia, Ukraine, China, Israel, you name it, there's a lot of volatility, a lot of things out there that people are waiting and watching to see what's going to go on, what's going to happen. And so the market doesn't move much. The market moves on information. And whether it's good or bad, it could go up or go down based on what it knows. And so Trump comes out and says he put this 90-day pause on tariffs, and the stock market goes back through the roof. So people start buying in. You sat around, you knew yourself that when that Dow Jones, when the stock market went down so fast, so much, that was a chance to buy into it right then. And sure enough, it was a buying opportunity. It was just a short-lived little deal, and now we're back up. We've corrected the market a little bit, and I think that's what's going to happen with the cattle market. I think that's what's going to happen to the futures and to the cattle coming out of the feedlots, which are lower because packers they're losing money at that high level, and so things are going to come back down and get in line where everybody's trying to make a little bit of money and everybody can live at this price level. So that's kind of where we are. When you go from $1,800 for a 500-pound steer down to $1,600, and you're getting $1,600 for a 5-weight steer calf, or maybe even a heifer, a replacement heifer that's weighing in the 5-weight range, they're bringing the same thing. So these cattle are high. They're good, and ranchers like us, we have a ranch and cattle just like you. We're trying to hold on to that land, and we're trying to keep everything put together because that's what we do. We have this land that, you know, maybe passed down from your grandpa or your father, or you inherited land, and you're holding on to that land so that you can pass it down to the next generation. Kind of like Kevin Costner on Yellowstone. It's the same thing. We try to manage the land and keep the cows on there to keep the land all put together. And the cows have to make enough money to keep that place going. And that's pretty much it. It's not about getting rich on a ranch, because it's probably not going to happen, but you're going to be able to keep it together, maybe put some money in the bank, pay the bills, and have a nice living, and then it just kind of goes on down the line. So that's kind of the way I look at that. But you stay on your program pretty much. You know, this is the time to be thinking about selling calves. It's springtime. Our calves are getting ready to ship here this summer, which is just a couple of months away. And, you know, we're excited to see them out there gaining weight. We're getting some rain. Grass is green. Calves are probably gaining 2 pounds a day. They're getting bloomy and nice. We've kind of passed through the ugly stage, and the cows were poor, and the calves were really working hard on their mamas, and they didn't have any good grass to eat. But now we're kind of past that, and things are looking up, and cattle are gaining, and we're thinking about what are we going to do with our calf crop, and how are we going to market our calves. And for the most part, we'll all do the same thing we've been doing every year. That's kind of what we do. It's you know, the fruit is ripe, we're going to pick it. It's harvest time. So, you know, you can play the market a little bit, or you can take a gamble, or you can buy the insurance programs, the LRPs, to lock in this or that. And that's another kind of issue I have. I'm not so sure that I'm 100% for this LRP or subsidies even. You know, you have to figure a way to be sustainable in a real market in real time without assistance from anybody. You kind of got to make it on your own, and if you can get supplements or assistance, like government assistance for drought programs or price supporting or whatever, then, you know, that's kind of gravy, you know, a little extra gravy, or icing on the cake or whatever. But you got to be able to make it just on the pure numbers and fundamentals of what the market is doing. And right now, the year, you know, it's in the favor of the producer, and we need to be making good money so we can hold on to that money and have it for a nest egg for when the times are not as good as when they are now, because there will be another cycle in this cattle market. It'll come back down when the herd builds up, and that probably won't be for a little while yet, but it will start building up when these cattle are as high as they are. But all in all, I'd say the market is in good shape. It took a little hit this week, but I feel like it's going to come bouncing right on back, and things will straighten out. So that's, and then on the slaughter cow side too, we talked about the feeder calves, but slaughter cows were pretty lower by maybe even $5 to $10 in some cases on the slaughter cows and bulls, but they're still at a high level, and cows are still bringing up there in the 140s. Bulls are still bringing up there in the 170s and 80s. Maybe 190 on those really good bulls. So it's still all in all a good market. The other thing coming that we know is springtime, and the barbecue grills are going to start coming out, and this weather's going to start straightening out, even though right now they're having some really bad weather up in the Northeast and up there in Ohio and all. I see where the rivers are flooding, and it's some pretty tough times up there right now, but all that's going to straighten out, and meat sales are going to go up, and people are going to start barbecuing, and beef demand is good, and it's probably going to even get a little bit better, and that'll help the market too. So runs are a little bit short this time of year, still running around 700 or 800 head a day. Monday and Tuesday I think we had 15 or 1600 head for the week, and that's pretty consistent with what it should be, and it's about the same as what it was this time last year. And I think we'll be another month. See, this is April, be May, probably into June before we start running a few more cattle. And so we'll just hang in there and watch this market and tell you what we think is going to happen. I think it's going to be good. I don't see anything wrong out there right now with prices where they are, and I do think it's going to it's got some room on the top side to come back, kind of like everything else. We just got to get this tariff deal and some of these world events straightened out where people can see what's going on. Top prices to this week, we had, get this, from Tulsa, Oklahoma, Camo Farms. And their address is Tulsa, Oklahoma. Now, they've got cattle down here in Okeechobee, that's for sure, but that check went all the way to Tulsa, Oklahoma. We'd rather that money stay around here so we could have it circulating in our area, but that's okay, that's fine. They topped the calf market with a 190-pound little bull calf, and that calf brought $6 a pound. See, that's not too bad. That's about where it's been being. It's still bringing good money on those little lightweight calves. That little calf was bought by Cracker Land and Cattle. And the slaughter cow, high price this week was Williamson Cattle Company. Hardly ever misses a week, Wes. Appreciate you guys and your family, and y'all keep doing your good job like you always do there on Williamson Ranch. Williamson Cattle Company topped the cow market with a 1,450 pound cow. It's a big old cow. She was fat, and she brought $1.49. That's a good price. That cow was bought by Florida Beef, and that's your market report. We appreciate your business. We'll be back here with you next week. Thumbs up, subscribe to our station. We'll tell you what we think. It might be right, could be wrong, but it's what we think. Appreciate you. See you next week.